John Bentley.
Gang, man, it's your boy J Tuck back with another episode of the Cowboys Fans Only Show. And we got a big treat today, man. I got a special guest today. But before we do that, y'all know the drill. Go ahead, comment, like, subscribe, somewhere down there, somewhere down there, somewhere down there. I want to go give a shout out to everybody that's already in the chat. I see the chat is on fire. Shouts out to my guy KMT, Carlito, the Lunatic, my Cowboys family, like everybody in the chat, man. Salute to you guys. So if you haven't, go ahead, join the channel, share the love. I appreciate all the support. But enough with all that. It's my favorite time of the year, y'all. It's my favorite time of the year, and it's Madden season. And I figure for Madden season, because it comes out tonight, it's already in the queues, downloading, I wanted to bring on a great Cowboys guest to talk some Madden's football. And I've done some research and I looked around and I found that guy who I said, you know what? I like that guy. So with further ado, let me bring on my guy, Nick from Demb0yzz22. What's going on, Nick? How's it going, man?
Oh man, what's up, J Talk? I'm doing great.
Yeah,
Madden season, like you said, great time of year. We're getting ready for football to start. And
yeah,
while we
man.
wait, we can get down on the Madden, you know?
Get ready for Madden, man. We've been waiting for football for a long time, and I feel like Madden season is kind of like the Christmas Eve of football, man. It's like I said, I'm waiting tonight. I took off. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I went into full like college kid mode. I took off work for the rest of the week for Madden. Because I can't travel or do all the other stuff that I like to do, man. So I took off the rest of the work week for Madden. So tonight it's gonna be a long haul, man. But like I said, I've watched numerous Madden channels, here and there, and I came across your channel one night, man, because I was researching the Demb0yzz streak, and I came across your channel, man. And I said, there's a Cowboys fan that's teaching Madden content, man. I said, that's my guy. Like, I commented instantly. And so, I had to bring you on the show, man. So go ahead, tell everyone about your channel and how they can find you before we get started.
Yeah, man. So it's Demb0yzz22. The O is a 0. The S is a Z22. Anywhere, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Most importantly, though, get over to that YouTube, smash that subscribe button. That's the goal, right? Build the community, get a large fan base, man. All these Cowboys fans, we got to get together,
Right.
Get ready for Madden. So that's what it is.
Exactly, man. Because I'll be honest, the Madden community is very Eagle heavy. Like, there's so many Eagles fans out there and Cowboys haters out there. I mean, it makes it so hard, man. So when I found you, I was like, one of us, man. So I had to definitely bring you on, show that support. So like we said, it's Madden season. We got a lot to discuss. I know everyone's out there getting ready. So Nick, I want to ask you this question first and foremost. How long have you been playing Madden football?
Oh my goodness. Man, since Madden football existed, since Tecmo Bowl,
right? Tecmo Bowl,
right? Like we can take it back, right? Since back then, I've been playing, and when I was 18, I started to take it real serious. I was ranked as high as like 52 in the nation. I had some sports-related injuries. My wrist was shot. Couldn't play for many years, right? So I took about 5 years off. I think about 07, I got back into it. And 3 years ago, I said, you know what? We got to really make this happen again.
Right.
So it came to Madden 19, and I was competing. I wanted to try to make a run. Made a good run. What ended up happening, so Clef the God, I don't know how familiar any of you are with him. He's a big name in the Madden community, right? He knocked me off by 6. Pavan, who ended up going on and actually winning that next belt in that competition, knocked me off by 6.
Dang, man.
And I'm going, man, that's just where I'm at with it. So I sat down and I said, all right, this is what I want to do for a living. But let's teach it as well, right?
Right.
Let's get into that aspect of it and just build a good community of folks, because that's what's so fun for me, right? Is when you spend, I did the math on it, the last 2 years, I spent 1/3 of all total time playing Madden. All right, so about as much time as I spent sleeping, I spent playing Madden or shooting YouTube videos.
Right.
What I do, right?
Right.
When you start putting in time like that, just make it pay off any way you can. Keep grinding and good things happen. So I'm just going to try to take this every direction that I can, because ultimately I'm not a video game guy. I'm a football guy.
Right.
Who is, beat up, injured, 35 years old. My glory days were, well enough behind me.
Exactly.
To where I can go ahead and I can play football, right? I ain't going to hurt. What am I going to do? Sprain a thumb?
Right. Exactly. So it's a way to live our dreams, because it's funny. I watched the face of the franchise. I haven't played it yet because I only had the EA access, and they actually have my high school team on there, the Pioneers.
Oh, really?
And so I don't know how to revisit my career, put myself at quarterback, because I didn't play quarterback in high school. So it's kind of like Uncle Rico syndrome. If I would have played quarterback, we would have won state. So we're gonna walk through that whole ordeal. So you mentioned a few things, Nick, about playing competitive. So for someone watching this show and they say, you know what, I want to play Madden, I want to be serious. How do they really get started to really playing Madden competitively, and where should their focus be?
That's a good question. So the first thing that you notice with the Madden community is it's never ever your fault. It's the game's fault, right?
Right.
This
Right.
game is trash. That glitch, it shouldn't have happened. And maybe sometimes that's true,
Mm.
but put the onus back on yourself and say, okay, what could I have done to not put myself in that situation, right?
Right.
And when you start to think that way, for me, it sparked something and I got hungry, right? And now I'm in the lab constantly trying to figure out why that happened. You know, what can I maybe leverage that to my advantage in the next game?
Right.
You know, when you start thinking that way, it just naturally fuels that fire.
Yeah.
And for me, it would just took off.
Yeah, and Madden definitely does that. Like I tell you, I'll take a Madden loss to heart, man. Like there's some nights where it's like I want to go to bed on a Madden loss, so I'll be up. Like I can't go to bed after that type of loss, man. But I think a lot of people do get caught up in just focusing on the game, but not focusing on their skill set. I mean, there's ton. You mentioned it, like you play Madden just as much as you sleep. You have to put in the work. You have to put in the hours. You can't just hop on and become one of the best. Because there's people who are really into this thing. So I'm a MUT player. I know a lot of people watching this probably aren't familiar with MUT is, but we're going to go into that. But all those grinding and solos and like if you watch me on Instagram and different things like that, people will be like, "Are you up at 4 a.m. playing Madden?" Like I wake up early on Saturday and it's grind solos, man. So it's definitely a grind to definitely do. So yeah, to have that conversation, Ultimate Team. So for someone who's completely novice, doesn't know what Ultimate Team is like, because honestly, I didn't get into Ultimate Team until Madden 2018, because I always stayed away with it. I was just a regs guy, Cowboys only. That's it. That's all I knew, the old school way. But for someone getting into this and want to actually learn about Ultimate Team, how can you explain Ultimate Team to those people?
So for me, like my people ask me, what if you could do anything for a living, what would you be? And I'd say I want to be a coach and I want to be like Bill Parcells. I want to buy the groceries. If I could do that in real life, I'd be the happiest dude alive. I could work 80-hour work weeks and never work an hour again, right?
Right.
So for Ultimate Team, you can go in and kind of think of your strategy, how you want to play, what you want to work well, and you go ahead and you build your team to those strengths.
Right.
So to take that even further, they have a salary cap mode, which is really what I'm known for.
Okay.
And there you have a limit, so it's not as much the whole big bank wins, right?
Right.
There it's an even playing field with the salary cap, and each player is assigned a specific point total.
Right.
So what you end up with is a very scheme-heavy game versus, I just got the best player-heavy game.
Right.
You build to do one or two specific things really well, and you master them.
Right.
And you try to figure out what the best couple of schemes are and try to master them better than anyone else. And to me, that's where MUT really shines.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the easiest way I explain it, and I explain this to my son, he's 10, it's like Pokemon of football. It's like you get this deck of cards, and like, the 99 Randy Moss, like the Charizard card, you just trump that down, man, and it'll make things a lot easier for you. So, so a lot of people, they sit back and you see the tweets, and we all hear, you probably hear it 100 times on your channel. It's just the same game. It's just the update. It's just the update. What do you say to those people? Do you feel like Madden 21 specifically is just another roster update, or do you really see the difference from 20 to 21?
I think that there's an intersection there of people who've been blaming the game for so long they don't even know what's happening anymore.
Right.
I don't know. It baffles me, right? So let's just take a case study of the last 2 years and then what we know about this year.
Right.
Madden 19, I probably ran the ball 4 times a game.
Right.
And that was pretty normal for competitive Madden.
Right.
Last year, if I was at my best, I went a month and a half without throwing a single pass.
Right.
Okay,
right?
That's a very different game. Okay?
Exactly.
So just the ideology of how the game's put together is different. Not to mention the gameplay was very different in and of itself. You couldn't just jump 10 yards up in the air and grab interceptions. 2 years ago, you could do that. The guy's 30 yards behind you and you're jumping up and picking the ball up.
Exactly.
Like, okay, what is that? The John Elway straight bullet every pass.
Exactly.
No actual passing trajectory.
Yeah.
Well, they added that in, and then they tuned, right? So now what we're seeing this year is it's really a mashup of the last 2 years
coming
and
together.
What they tried to tune, right? They tuned what they thought were the finer points of those 2 years and have kind of put them together. So last year you had the first year with abilities. That was rushed. It really screwed up salary cap mode most of the year because abilities cost so much cap. How did you put your team together? So now that's going to be refined. They've actually created a separate cap for abilities, which
Abilities.
is what I was calling for immediately last year.
Right.
So you're just going to see a much more refined version of the game this year, and
Hmm.
you're not going to see people running the ball every play.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
that's
for
not
me,
going to be a
for
feasible way to
for
play.
me, and I know my brother is probably watching this. I was very run heavy because, of course, I had Ezekiel Elliott. You know, of course I'm gonna be run heavy, and so I close, stretch, play left, stretch right, in different motion sets to another dive up the middle. So I was very
Oh, yeah.
run heavy, and I found out early. I found out in the beta. All right, man, this isn't gonna this is gonna work anymore.
Run the
And
ball.
so I think
Yeah, not
it's
now, not
yeah,
now.
yeah, not anymore. And so yeah, so I
So
think you really have to start digging into your playbook, and that's where guys like you and some of the other YouTubers really come into play to be able to break down with these ebooks and really look into your playbook. It's really a skill set. I mean, the days of just hopping on and pressing square and hoping for the best are really gone from Madden.
yeah, I mean, if you want to play against the computer, knock yourself
Oh
out. But
yeah,
you do that
yeah.
online, you're going to break a few controllers.
Right. Oh,
You
absolutely,
know.
absolutely. Because I was trying to play Superstar KO the other night to get the Lamar Jackson card, and I was
Yep.
getting ready to pull my hair out, and I only have that much hair, but I was getting ready to pull it out. So yeah. So if a guy is looking to get, or a guy or girl looking to get started this year on Madden, what playbook should they be looking into? Now I see that I watched your video. I
Okay.
know you're very Patriot heavy, and I know with the addition to Cam Newton, they got a few different run plays with the the
Yes,
Panther now,
sir.
and there's now the Patriot. But I'm
That's
personally
huge.
I'm personally a Raiders guy. I've been with the
Okay.
Raiders playbook. I used to run with the Panthers playbook, but I've been with the Raiders for the last 2 years, so I'll probably stick with that. But where should they start looking as far as playbook and scheme wise?
Yeah, so this year, think of it more of a pass to set up the run, but you still do want to run. So you're going to see people running out of shotguns, inside zones, things like that. This whole under center game
Uh-huh.
is just not going to be a huge part of it. So that's where the Patriots playbook kind of comes into play there. We know they've always had excellent passing schemes, right? With Belichick, they're drawing things up, and McDaniels the way they do.
Right.
So you're gonna have that. Now you mentioned this heavy Patriot now.
Yeah.
They made it so quarterbacks aren't just gonna fumble every time they get hit.
Yeah. Especially
And
Lamar Jackson. That's scary.
that's scary, right? So now you're gonna have a guy running around out there with like 89 speed day one.
Uh-huh.
Well, they're gonna get gassed, so you're not gonna be able to spam it over and over
Right.
again. But to have that ability, that's a huge part of the reason people have used the Saints playbook, because you had QB blast with the gun Taysom Hill stuff.
Right.
So now when you can bring that into the Patriots playbooks with trips, with U trips, it's just going to be real tough for people to deal with the spacing on some of those corner routes and trips tight end.
Right.
You're going to have a route at 5 yards, at 25 yards, and then a streak.
Right.
Well, you're going to force somebody to adjust their defense. They're going to have to take their purples and adjust them back to 25, 30 yards. Well, the middle of the field is going to get open. You're going to have the spacing with trips, right? Proper spacing. Everybody's spaced out. You're not in a compressed set.
Right.
That's another thing. I think this year you're going to see less compressed sets.
Mm-hmm.
And really just to make for a much more exciting game. Now, defensively,
We
that's
talk.
where everybody's scratching their head, right? That's what everyone's waiting
Yeah,
to
we
talk
spoke.
about
We
is,
spoke
so
about
what do
that.
we
Yeah,
do?
help, help,
What do we
help
do?
me, help
What
me,
do
man.
we
I
do?
need
Because
help for
this is
tonight.
track me, right? Track me 21.
Yeah, exactly.
So we have to completely rethink the way we've played defense. Last year, everyone got used to the Send 7 meta, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, the year before that, it was Send 3 or 4, and we're going to have to go back to that.
Mm-hmm.
A few reasons. They've taken the contain glitch out to where, you could essentially just have your ends run around unblocked and shoot right at the quarterback.
Right.
Now they hesitate. They're a little bit slower to get there. They've also made it significantly easier to pick up every known blitz.
Mm-hmm.
I was known as the creator of the 146 meta last year. That was how I made a name for myself.
Uh-huh.
And 146 was still arguably the best defense at the end of the year, right?
Right.
We saw it in every tournament. That now it's so easy. Just double team the guy blitzing or slide
Right.
your line over there. Do anything other than just let it happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you can't do any of that. We're gonna go with the Chiefs playbook.
Chiefs playbook. Okay.
Chiefs playbook.
Guys, write that down. Chiefs playbook.
Yep, Chiefs playbook.
For defense.
Hands down for defense. So the
Oh.
reason why, when we can't blitz, we're going to need to rely a little more on shed, and they've made this game a little bit more about getting into the proper run fits and allowing for better shed around the edges.
Hmm.
So really, you want to have some type of a 4 down alignment to stop the run.
Hmm.
3-4 under sounds counterintuitive. If you look at it, is actually a 4-man alignment. You just have a linebacker down rushing.
Right.
That is phenomenal run defense. That linebacker comes shooting around that edge frequently. You get into a cover 4, the safeties are going to fire down for you. Uh, Really good if people come out in 1 or 2 wide.
Right.
Uh,
Yeah, yeah. So that's what people need to hear. So the Chiefs defense, because I know the 3-4 odd was one of the favorites. The big dime last year.
yeah.
Because I even noticed when I was grinding solos, is that even the computer picks up the mid blitz. Because I was a nickel mid blitz guy,
Oh,
and I'm
yeah.
just like, all right, man. Well, how do I get this pressure on the quarterback? I'm trying to get done with these solos, man.
Yep.
So yes. So let me ask you this: for this for this Madden 21 season, what is your expectations as a competitive player? What are you really focusing on tonight as soon as you get the game?
So for me, from a actual competing standpoint, there's not enough hours in the day. All right, I
Mm-hmm.
would have to stick to one scheme and play that scheme, right, or one
Mm-hmm.
or two schemes. For me, I like to coach, right? I said that earlier. If I
Right.
could do any one thing, it would be a coach and a GM. Enter salary cap mode. Enter making YouTube videos, right?
Mm-hmm.
I am at my happiest when I am coaching.
Okay.
So for me, following that passion
Mm-hmm.
made more sense than continuing to try to compete per se.
Gotcha.
I'm not a video game guy, I'm a football guy.
Right.
And I really have had great success. I've been super happy. Demb0yzz Nation has been phenomenal. We grow at a phenomenal rate. So it's a real passion. I really, really love it to the point where now I've actually enrolled in digital marketing classes at Duke, something we've kind of talked about.
Yeah.
So I can learn how to market this stuff, right? Content management. So this, video editing, all of this stuff has become a real, real passion of mine, above and beyond just the fact that I love Madden. So to stack passions, right? And to be
Right.
able to stack passion on top of passion on top of passion
Exactly. That's what it's
for
all
a
about.
living. Oh my goodness. I mean, it's a blessing every day. Every
Right.
day is a blessing. I always say when I sit in this office, I've never gone to work. Ever.
Yeah, exactly. It's the same. Like like I said, honestly, some nights we go till almost like 5 hours, 6 hours. Shout out to my guy Nick's, man. Sometimes we're up to like 5 in the morning just talking
Hey man.
Cowboys football. So
Right.
we definitely love it because we're
Right.
definitely passionate about it. So you
Yeah.
mentioned coaching. So now we're going to transition from the video game world over into the real world. And so, like I said, one of the key things besides your knowledge that really translated with me is that you're a Cowboys fan. I mean, look at the background, guys. I see my guy DeMarcus Ware. So who are the two autographed balls? Because I noticed those.
Okay, yep. So actually, this one over here, when I was younger, I lived in Denver, and just beyond that, really nothing to do with that as much as Peyton Manning is amazing, right?
Right.
Hard not to love Peyton Manning. So this is a signed.
Yeah, somewhere, yeah,
There you
right
go.
there.
We got a signed game ball. This is from the game where he threw 7 touchdown passes.
Oh
So I
man,
had to get a piece of history with that one. That
right.
was huge. Shout out Pops.
Yeah, for that one.
Phenomenal Christmas present.
Right.
And this one here, this is my baby. So this is Deion Sanders autograph from when he was inducted into the Hall of Fame, signed
Oh,
at Canton.
oh man, prime
So,
time.
I
Yeah.
love that. Unfortunately I had an autographed Dak jersey back here, but the shadow box with studio lighting,
Just wait and get it right.
it's tricky. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? It's
yeah,
tricky.
man. So yeah, so let me ask you this because you mentioned your upbringing to me off camera, but tell me a little bit. How did you become a Dallas Cowboys fan?
Yeah, so long story short, my dad moved down to Texas with my stepmom in 92, 93, 92, I think.
Okay.
So I would go spend summers down there with them, and that's when you had they were North Houston.
Okay.
So the Rockets were winning, the Cowboys were winning, and it was I'm 6, 7-year-old kid looking at all this like, this is amazing, man. The community is engaged, everyone loves their teams. And
Right.
you go up to Minnesota, it's like, yeah, there's a couple of people saying go Vikes here and there, but what do they really have to cheer about? I wanted to live down in Texas anyways. Let's be real. I mean, it's a little cold up here. I could have.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
So I was a little bit salty about being in Minnesota anyways.
Right.
We're just, keeping it real. So for me, it was that community, that excitement, that passion that I saw.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, man, this is something that I can get behind, and it's a community that I enjoy. I've always associated my roots with North Houston, really just spending every summer down there, and that really being a place that was real special to me growing up.
Perfect. So if you had to decide, who was your favorite all-time Dallas Cowboys player?
Emmitt Smith.
Emmitt Smith, 22.
Smith. Yeah,
22.
you don't even expect to hesitate. Emmitt Smith.
Emmitt Smith. Emmitt Smith.
You don't even finish the question. Emmitt.
Emmitt Smith.
Emmitt,
Smith.
man. Everything Emmitt embodied, man. Emmitt came out, and he was too small. He was too slow. You know, he couldn't do it, man. He couldn't do it. And this is a dude who wrote down all of his goals on paper.
Right.
And achieved every goal he ever set.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, man. That story in and of itself, if you can't love that story, that's like Rudy on serious steroids, man.
Right.
That's a story right there. And then to be the all-time leader by a mile.
Right.
By a mile.
Still.
It's not even close. And we're not even talking about all the receiving yards.
Right.
I think that up.
And I think a lot of, the younger Cowboys fans, they really don't understand the greatness of Emmitt Smith. He really is not. He didn't get talked about like some of the other guys like Barry Sanders. Because even if you play Madden, right, and you play Ultimate Team, Emmitt Smith is like one of the worst running backs on the game to get an Ultimate Team. Because I feel like the EA Sports always slights the Cowboys for some reason.
And with Emmitt too, it's so what do you do, right? You have video game characters and real life characters, right? So Emmitt being that guy who wasn't big, wasn't fast, they have to try to find a way to embody what he was within the programming of a video game,
right?
And you couldn't even see it on TV. When you went and watched Emmitt live, there was stuff that you just could not see on TV.
Right.
So how do you embody that in a video game?
Right.
You really can't.
You really can't. So to transition to 2020, how are you feeling about Mike McCarthy, the new coaching staff, this new regime in Dallas?
So, when I'm conflicted, right? I love it from the standpoint of if our other option was to go grab a college coach and get some inexperienced staff and give them on-the-job training with a team that's ready to win now, not a fan of that theory, right? That's not the road I wanted to go. So when they brought in not just him, but the experience behind him, that entire coaching staff,
right?
You look at it and it's like, these guys, they maybe didn't last as head coaches, but there's a reason they got looks as head coaches.
Right.
So they're doing what they're good at.
Right.
And beyond that, I do think McCarthy's offense with the addition of CeeDee Lamb is a great fit for, Jarwin, an athletic tight end, 3 receivers that can get out there, get some rack ability. And then, of course, obviously, we know about Zeke, right?
Right.
So I do think that, and his ability to catch, I should refer to, in a West Coast offense. So McCarthy's got his whole playbook open. He's got no excuses. This offense with Kellen Moore, who I'm a huge fan of. People want to be hard on him. First-year guy.
Right.
That was pretty impressive to lead that kind of an offense as a first-year coordinator. Get used to it because he's the next Jason Garrett in succession.
Exactly. I agree. I mean, a lot of people wanted to kind of lump Kellen Moore into the success of Jason Garrett last year. But you think about it from an offensive standpoint, offense was not the issue. It was more on the defensive side of the ball. So I expect you putting Kellen Moore under Mike McCarthy to expect big things and actually see a leap as far as our offense is concerned. So it's definitely exciting.
Against better teams, we won't be so conservative, right?
Exactly.
We knew we were high-powered, but we just refrained from breaking it out. Jason Garrett played to hang on, right? Just don't make the mistake.
Right.
And we'll be there in the end. But when you got a high-powered offense, just go blow the doors off someone.
Let it rip. And
that's all you gotta do.
Exactly. And I mentioned that on a show the other night, is that I feel like when we play against the Sean Paytons and the Bill Belichick's, Jason Garrett used to tense up so much. Like he like, oh my God, we're up by 3. Let's just hope we get away with the win. Versus like, let's just blow them out of the water and match them from talent for your perspective, man. We can definitely get the team done. And we have the more than talent. So I feel like that's going to be a huge change as far as Mike McCarthy and the staff. There's going to be a lot of different, I wouldn't say arrogance, but confidence when it comes to getting the things done. So I feel like it's going to be very lunch pill heavy, and this team is ready to work, which I'm excited to see. So let's hop in the chat, man. Like I know the chat's been popping for a little bit. Let's see. Shouts out to my boy Manuel. What's up, my hitter? What's going on, bro? Now those are some sweet jerseys, 94, 88, and GOAT 22 to Lunatic. Absolutely, man. My guy Jonathan said, Jay Tuck, it's Madden season. Yes. And so here's the thing. I see you're an Xbox player, right?
I am.
Yeah, I was an Xbox player, but I'm going to the PS5. So last month, I converted over to the PS4, just kind of get acclimated with playing Madden on the new system. And I hated it, to be honest with you. I can't stand the controllers. So
Man, they're terrible.
they're
Terrible.
Thank you.
They're
You hear that, Jonathan? The controllers are terrible.
Bruh, my hand isn't designed. Like, nah, that's not the way.
I told you. Everyone thought I was bugging out and making excuses and everything. Like, no, it's really the controllers. So really I tried three different science projects. I got the like thumbsticks to put on the controller because my thumbs kept sliding off. So like little modifications to the thumbsticks. Tried that, didn't work. It slid off and broke. Then I took apart a PlayStation 4 controller and put it together with Xbox Elite pieces. So I got that off of eBay, did that whole science project.
But your buttons will be wrong, right?
Yeah, well, the buttons still work, but the analog is raised up and it's a lot higher. Okay. But over time, still didn't work. Then I went on Amazon and I found a third-party controller that's shaped like an Xbox controller. So it's just like an Xbox controller, but it works on the PS4. And now I'm ready to go. Now I'm ready to go. But everyone, my brother's like, oh, man, you're making excuses. You know, blah, blah. So,
look, there's a reason the major competitions are done on Xbox.
Yeah. See what I'm telling you.
You want to go play in an actual competition, bring your Xbox controller. Now, nowadays, they got little switches where you can, change it and you can hook up one to the other. But they're done on Xbox.
Exactly. Let's see. KMT said, study the meta. I have 1 million coins on deck for the market crash tomorrow. He's already ready.
Yes, sir. Me too. I'm stacked waiting.
I had coins and I had 15 minutes left in the EA Access, and I spent like 150 of it on the Zach Martin card because I feel like Zach Martin Elite. I'm gonna use Zach Martin. So,
there you go.
Philly Notion. So crazy. He's a Philadelphia Eagles fan, but he shows so much support to the channel. So shouts out to my guy Philly Notion. He said, salute fellas. It's about to be Madden drop-off season. We'll be back in the lab tonight. Absolutely.
Go grab that Dawkins card if you're an Eagles
fan. Yeah. Don't do that.
Look, that's what I almost blew my money on, but I'm waiting for that crash. I'll get them for cheaper.
Yeah, get them for cheaper. And then shout out to my guy Nix. He says, yo, what's up? And then Terrence Connor had a great question. So going back to the Cowboys this season, how y'all feel about predicting Mike Nolan's defense is going to be? So I think he meant to say how predictable is Mike Nolan's defense going to be. And personally, to answer that question, I don't think it's going to be predictable. I think as we've seen through training camp, it's going to be multiple different looks. I saw photos today of us going to a 3-4. We're going to be 4-3. There's been talks of a NASCAR package with Everson Griffin, Alden Smith, and then Crawford, and then D-Law, which could be deadly. So how do you feel about this defensive standpoint, and what are your expectations on the defensive side of the ball for the Cowboys?
Well, for me, we've all got to be real sick of watching the ball get shoved down our throats in important games.
Right.
So this, little quick guys running, talk about predictable stunts every single play.
Right.
I mean, this embodied our defense to me. We were playing the Seahawks. They had the ball on about the 12-yard line. And we stunt Russell Wilson with no spy. He basically just walked into the end zone, predictably.
Right.
Obviously, right? That was going to be the result there. And that's the kind of crap that it drove me up a wall, man. So I don't want to watch C.J. Anderson and Todd Gurley get 150 each.
Right.
So now we've got some big boys. They're trying, and now we got another one we got to replace, right?
Right.
Let's get another big boy in there. I don't know, maybe go bring in Snacks, something like that. Get real big and nasty, so we can be multiple and do all these different things. But just from a strategy standpoint, being bigger and stronger seems like a win to me.
Right, exactly, yeah. And I feel like we got, a lot of the question marks has been with our secondary, but I feel like the strength of our defense will be in the defensive line, which internally is going to help our secondary. So the big talk is the secondary position. So I have to ask this question because everyone will be mad. Like, Tuck, you didn't ask the question. Earl Thomas, he's released. What's your thoughts?
We just cleared a bunch of cap space, right?
Right.
I mean, it's not like he got in trouble for morally we can talk about what he did, but from like a league standpoint, from a team standpoint, there's no accusation that he's a bad teammate, really. I mean, I guess he kind of did the Seahawks a little dirty, but
right.
He seems to want to be here, and if a guy wants to be somewhere, he's going to be on his best behavior. We know that.
Yeah.
So even if he's 80% of what he was, man, what can it hurt at this point?
Right.
Whose development are we stunting by bringing him
Right.
in? You know, what else? So why not do it? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, man. Because I know I spoke on this Saturday night, and I wasn't really for it. I wasn't for making a trade for him, and I wasn't for having a heavy negotiations with him. But I didn't think he was actually going to get released, like just go. And so now that that's the case, I gave the scenarios like if you were to go to like the Goodwill and you were to find a $500 pair of shoes just laid on the rack for $5, like you got to grab them, even if they're scuffed up or torn a little bit. I mean, they're still $500 shoes. Like I can do something with them. So I feel like that's where we are with Earl Thomas. So if he really wants to be a Cowboy, if Earl Thomas really wants to be a Cowboy, now's your time to prove it. So don't come to Steven and Jerry and saying, hey, we couldn't work on a deal because I want an X amount. No, like if you really want to be here, and this is what all the fuss is about, come on, prove yourself, hold yourself accountable. Because I think reports were showing that he was showing up late to practice, skipping practice. He missed a few film sessions because he had to get a car wash. Things like that. And then he missed a few plays at practice, and the guy Clark called him out. It's like, well, you wouldn't know what to do if you were ever here. And that's what sparked the fight. Okay. So that's the thing. And so, when you think about Earl Thomas, even though he hasn't had really off the field issues per se, he's had on the field, which is kind of different, which I didn't expect from him. So,
yeah, that's kind of odd, right? Because he was part of that championship culture in Seattle, to where you'd think that if he wants to be somewhere, he could help you create that culture in another locker room.
Exactly, because that was my conversation. Is like he went from a championship culture in Seattle to pretty much one in Baltimore, and you're not happy at those two. I'm like, well, what's Dallas really going to offer? I mean, granted, I love my Cowboys, but we're really not championship culture yet, So,
well, look, does his brother live in Dallas?
Yeah, kick it with his brother. Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe
man.
There's some leisure activities that are offered up in Dallas.
Man. Gotta take those flights, man. Some brotherly love, we should say. Actually, maybe we should go to Philly. The city of brotherly love, man.
Right.
So you're all for Earl Thomas at the right price.
Well, at the right price. Well, and look, even if we got to look at our cap for this year, Dak ain't gonna get signed. So if we're signing him on like a 1-year deal, who cares? We just cleared this space with Tyron. If it don't work out, who cares? Look, it's Jerry's pocketbook. It's not our salary cap.
Right.
We can only do what we can do at this point with the cap we cleared.
Right.
And if Jerry wants to spend another $10 million to make the team better, I'm super all for that. That's the great thing about Jerry Jones.
Exactly. Because time is getting short. Time is getting short with Jerry, so you need to make something happen.
The old man needs one before he goes. He needs another one before he goes.
He definitely does. So you just mentioned the magic words, man. I've been trying to, get past this subject, but we definitely got to ask you this. And when you say this guy's name, the chat tends to just light up. So Dak Prescott, our quarterback, didn't get signed. Well, let me ask you this. How do you feel about Dak? Question one. And then why do you think that was the case why he didn't get signed?
So anytime you see a quarterback flash special stuff early in their development, you have to give them 5 years, period.
Right.
You have to.
Right.
Because you set your franchise and yourself back potentially, 15 years. What did we see in the Quincy Carter, Chad Henne, et cetera, et cetera? We can roll on before Romo, right?
Yeah.
So we know what can happen there. And typically, if you see a 5-year trend, a lot of positions, it's 2-3 years. So for me, Dak is coming into his prime, and we're going to see prime Dak over the next 2 years.
Right.
So while it would have been nice to get him signed up before the dollar amount goes up, I get it with the uncertainty this offseason. They've been, under the assumption that the salary cap is going to keep going up and up and up because revenues keep going up and up and up.
Right.
So I get the reluctance for them to potentially shoot themselves in the foot. I think a deal will ultimately get done. I love Dak. I just think back to his rookie year in the preseason, and you can say, it's preseason. But you saw, when given a clean pocket, you saw elite traits right away. And that is so rare.
Exactly.
So you got to hang on to that and do your best to look at like a Jameis Winston, right? We could talk about why that didn't go the way it should have.
Right.
But, Dirk Cutter did that man no favors.
Right.
None. The defense didn't. The run game didn't. The offensive line didn't. The philosophy of let's throw the ball 30 yards downfield. You're not allowed to check down every play. Well, and we wonder why he had 5,000 yards and 30 picks, right? An Arians system is the same. That's continuation, right?
Right.
But we've done a decent enough job with Dak to where we got to hang on to him now.
You have to. We have. Anyone deserved to be overpaid? It was Dak Prescott because he's done all the right things. You mentioned that from day one, but we should have got taken care of the deal a long, long time ago, and we let him get outside the deal, and so here we are, man. Shouts to my guy Pick and Pop, man. What's going on, bro? Appreciate you joining in. So you mentioned earlier CeeDee Lamb. That's the craze, CeeDee Lamb. Now this is an 88, but you know. It's the old guy. It's the old guy. So, but let me ask you this: as far as this great draft class that we're so excited about here in Dallas, who are like some of the players that you're really excited to see that you think is going to have an instant impact from day one, or maybe not day one, but early impact? I would say.
Yeah, well, I'll say the early impact guy is obvious, CeeDee Lamb. The question mark that I think is going to have the most impact overall is actually Diggs.
Okay.
What's that? Who's going to replace Byron? That to me is huge. If Diggs can come in and be a dog and go out there and fight every week and get that learning curve and be an asset come postseason time, look out.
Okay.
Look out, because we know what Lamb's going to do. Look, that's just that dartboard was so big when they threw the dart they had to hit.
Exactly. Right. So Diggs. So do you think Diggs will be a day one starter, or do you think it's going to take him some time to get acclimated? I mean, because I saw some highlights today, and I mean, man, he's hovering. So
yeah. Well, I mean, he's got the opportunity. If you're I look at it this way: if you're putting together, a fantasy football team, thinking who's got the opportunities this year, obviously on the wrong side of the ball, but that thought process says Diggs, right? He's got the opportunity to step in. There is a huge vacancy. So when they spent a second round pick on him, there's a vacancy. He's going to get every chance and then some.
Exactly.
So he's got to make something of it, and I think the kid's a beast.
Yeah, I was excited we're able to get him in the second. To get CeeDee Lamb and turn around and get Diggs, definitely still. I mean, Jerry did his thing that entire draft. Well, the Cowboys staff did it, but Jerry's the face of it. So let me ask you this: when you look at this Cowboys roster for 2020, what is your question mark? What's your concern seeing like, oh man, this is an area we need to address?
Tristan Hill as a person specifically, and then that interior of that defensive line.
Okay.
Losing McCoy like this, that was huge. Even again, McCoy at 70 or 80% of what he was is a heck of a lot better than what we have. So if that D line can create some pressure, that's going to, make it, like you said, easier on the back end. If we don't get Earl Thomas, that's going to, make life a lot easier on those safeties. It's going to make it. Diggs' confidence is so big at the cornerback position, right? So make his job a little bit easier as he's learning. That can't hurt. So to me, that's the huge, huge question mark. And also a great offense does you no good sitting on the bench because your defense is getting toted on for 250 yards.
Exactly. And don't think that teams are not going to be aware of those offensive weapons. They're going to try to keep the ball out of our hands. The same thing that Jason Garrett used to do when he tightens up, everyone's going to try to do to us. Like, get up by 3, just run the clock out, and hopefully get out with the win. So you missed him, Tristan Hill. So tell me a little bit more about that. What's your concern with Tristan Hill?
Well, the kid is so gifted athletically. He's one of those guys that just makes you pull your hair out because you think what could be if he would just mature a bit and really take this opportunity for what it is, because it's a life-changing opportunity to get a chance to play in the NFL.
Exactly.
Generationally life-changing. It changes your children's life, your grandchildren's life. You got to step up. And the early reports are that he has been buried in his little iPad, walking around camp, working hard, coming in late. So, I just think, man, if that's an X factor, if all of a sudden we got a guy who's a pass rusher, you talked about the NASCAR package.
Right.
This guy's a pass rushing defensive tackle.
Right.
We get a lead on people with that offense, and all of a sudden we can go NASCAR, all of the Giants, in their Super Bowl run.
Right.
He could be a huge, huge part of that, and he needs to be with no more McCoy, right? He was going to go from 150, 200 snap guy to now he's need to be a regular part of the rotation.
Exactly. He's one of those players that, like I said, a lot of Cowboys fans wrote him off early because of last year. But I think, as you mentioned, there's been a lot of great news coming around Tristan Hill. And I watched his training camp interview. He was very short, very brief. So it looks like he's really just focused on football. And so I'm excited to see what he's able to do. Now, granted, it really sucks because we don't get training camp. But I think we're going to get some glimpse of his team, fingers crossed, on August 30th with this scrimmage thing that, Jerry's going to try to get fans in for the crowd and everything like that. So we'll definitely see. So to kind of go off of that conversation, when you think about this season with the pandemic and everything going on, do you think we're actually going to get through this? Do you think it's going to be bumps in the road? How are you feeling? Are you feeling like, oh man, football's back? Here we go. Just
well,
are you?
In the Jeep, we're going off, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Bumpy, man.
Exactly.
It's gonna be a bumpy one. There ain't no way around it. You know, you look at what the NBA's done.
Uh-huh.
And you look at other sports that have not taken those precautions, and you see right away, right? We already know what's going to happen. We're watching it.
Right.
So I don't see a great plan in place. They can't even figure out attendance, right? Is attendance a thing? Is it not? Is it a thing in this city? Is it a thing? You know, what are we doing?
Right.
It's one of those things where there's so much money. Again, this is generational money. If you got to go and get your butt in a bubble for a year,
right,
then maybe that's what you got to do to set up generations of your family.
Exactly.
Right? So to me, that's just one of those things where it's a no-brainer. As a player, would I be more than willing to hop in a bubble and say, hey, I'm going to sacrifice, you know, some months of my life for work, which we all do.
Right. Exactly.
A lot less.
Exactly. A whole lot less.
Whole lot less. Right. My paychecks aren't going to change my grandkids' life.
Exactly.
Right? You know, they can get one paycheck that'll change their grandkids' life.
Exactly.
So, you gotta figure it out, but that's on the NFL, not the players. The NFL's got to get it together, start taking this a little more serious, and realizing your opinion on it doesn't matter. You know, we've got to address it. Period. It just you have to.
Yeah, because I tell people, you know, they attack me on Twitter because they feel like, Tuck, you don't want the season to happen. I'm like, why wouldn't I? Like, what? My team is actually in the lead position right now. I'm feeling great about everything. I want a football season, but what I constantly tell people is my biggest fear is for this season to really get off to a start, and we see how talented this Cowboys team is, and then we got to cancel it. It's not going to work. We got to delay it for 5 to 6 weeks and push into 20. Like, I can't handle that. So I feel like if we're going to start it, we have to be able to finish it. So I feel like hearing Jerry talk, and I feel like hearing Commissioner Goodell talk and other teams, I feel like it's going to be a go. And so I don't think things are really going to stop once we get things moving. So, yeah.
Let's hope.
Yeah, let's hope.
For the best,
knock on wood. Knock on wood. So, like I said, and if we win the Super Bowl, I'm going to be at a parade. I'll put my mask on, go to the parade, but I'll definitely be there. COVID will not take a Cowboys parade from me. I guarantee you that.
Right?
Yeah. I don't care. Rain, sleet, or snow, I'm out there. Pick and pop. So you said, what about the linebackers, mostly Lee, or you guys think will be at nickel a ton? So let me ask you that. That's always been my biggest concern with the defense is the linebacker position. As far as depth is concerned, I mean, we know about LVE and his neck injury. I mean, Sean Lee, my goodness, every time you see his name tweeted, you just gasp for air, hoping for the best. So how do you feel about this linebacker core? Do we have enough, or are there some moves we should make?
You know, it could just be coach talk, but, again, out of camp, they're saying that the depth is showing up and they're starting to play well behind them, some of the young guys. So let's hope they get some development. Because, even when we talk about Van Der Esch before the neck injury, you go back and watch the film, that was not the same Van Der Esch from his rookie year. I don't know if it had been bugging him and then, or how bad or what. But there was open field tackles that he was routinely – there was an Alvin Kamara one that just sticks out in my mind where, I mean, I'm like, bud, is your knee okay?
Right.
And the year before, anybody tried that same move, they were getting smeared.
Right.
So it was like, well, there was something not quite there. So that scares the heck out of me.
Okay.
Jalen stud. You have to love Jalen, right?
Right.
Team leader, the attitude, all of it. Reminds me of a Michael Irving type,
Yeah.
You got to love that guy.
Yeah.
And you got to love Sean Lee. But, like you said, he's always hurt. He's hurt again, right?
Right.
Undisclosed injury.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, man. So like you said, my concern is the linebacker depth. If not two of those guys go down, who's going to be able to step in? So I know there's been a lot of talks possibly about bringing in Clay Matthews or some other free agents that's still looming out there. But I feel like right now, this season is getting way too close to bringing someone that's really going to have impact. So I feel like we just got to hope for the best. And yeah, with that linebacker core.
If we have to make an ad after the season starts, a lot of those guys are probably still going to be waiting for a call.
Exactly. So let me ask you this, because I know you got to get out of here, man. We got Madden to play tonight, so we're not going to keep you too long. But what is your expectations for this season?
Man, for this season, I would expect them to be a 10-win team.
10-win team?
10-win team. I think the talent is there to be a 12-win team easily, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just typically you temper expectations for a coach getting acclimated and a team getting acclimated to the coach.
Okay.
So I think that could maybe cost us a few games as everyone kind of gets on the same page. They're keeping, the terminology the same for the most part in the offense, but it's going to be a totally new defense. So yeah, give us, 9 to 11 wins. And then in the playoffs, look out. They could lose the first game or win the whole thing, blowing everyone out along the way.
Yeah,
that's the Cowboys, right?
Exactly. It's the Cowboys' way. So do you place like an expectation on Mike McCarthy in his first season? Like he has to get to this point, or it wasn't really worth it?
It's more visually. What do I see, right? Do I see Wade Phillips at 11 against the Vikings standing on the sidelines with his hands on his hips, scratching his head, completely bewildered as to why the 5-step drop is getting his quarterback killed every single time and not changing it? Right. Do I see him on the sideline bright red clapping repeatedly? Right. What are you going to do and what does it look like? How does the sideline operate? We know what a well-coached team looks like. Give me those things and we can build a foundation even if it takes a year to get everyone on the same page.
Perfect. So yeah, man, you heard him. So go Cowboys, man. We're pushing, man. Hopefully this season's going to go interrupted. We're going to power through it. Let's just win the Super Bowl now. Why wait? Let's go ahead and get it done. Yeah. Repping the East. Yeah, man. You see that Philly notion? Rep the East. We still run the East, man. We still run the East.
Starts there.
Exactly. Win the East, man. But Nick, man, I definitely appreciate you coming on. Had a blast, man. Like I said, great guy. So once again, tell everybody where they can find you and they can get more Madden content. Get your playbooks ready. Because here's the thing, Cowboys fan. When you hop online and you have that Cowboy star next to your name, you represent all of us, man. So don't be out there getting dog walk playing with the Cowboys, man. So hit up my guy Nick to make sure your game is 8-1.
Right. So come on over. It's Demb0yzz22. Again, the O is a 0, the S is a Z22. I'm really, just to give you an idea, come over, please check out the videos. I'm trying to change the way this is all done. YouTubers spend 8 to 10 minutes giving you 2 minutes worth of information, all right?
Right.
Go watch the new format for my videos from this year to last year, and you'll see the improvements. You'll see what I'm about, all right? Every day we get better.
Right.
Every day. I don't care if you're playing Madden. I don't care if it's me helping y'all, coaching y'all. Every day get better.
Right.
That's it.
And that's what I appreciate about your channel, man. It's like, it's straight to the point. If you want to know what's the playbook to run, he just goes to the video. It's not a whole bunch of fluff and everything going on. It's like, hey, man, what's the playbook, man? How do I do the Demb0yzz streak? Right to it, man. So I definitely appreciate your content, man. Keep up the good work, man. I appreciate you. Maybe when I get back on Xbox, we can run a game or so. Because my brother was asking, like, have you guys played? Like, no, I haven't played them yet, man. Like, I think I'm better than what I really am, but I can hold my own. I can hold my own. I'll say that.
Every good player thinks they're better than they are, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of that competitive illusion, right?
Yeah, man.
I'm always open.
Yeah, and I tell you, Ultimate Team will definitely humble you really quick, man. You'll hop online and it's like, man, I don't have it, man. But once again, Nick, man, I appreciate you coming on. Guys, make sure you follow his channel, Demb0yzz22, man. Like I said, great guy. Cowboys fan. We support our own family, man, so definitely hit up his channel. Also, follow me. Comment, like, subscribe, comment below, man. Like I said, I'm off work, guys. I'm off work for Madden all week. So we're going to hit you show. Got a show tomorrow. Got a show Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We're going to do this thing. We're going to go full into this Cowboys content, man. Keep everything rolling. I appreciate everyone's support on Twitter, on the Facebook page, man. I appreciate y'all rocking with me, man. So go ahead, get your drinks or whatever you guys do. Go on your PlayStation, your Xbox, download that Madden tonight, and have a blast because football season is finally here.
Yes, sir.
All right, guys. Appreciate you all.